How to protect shattered memory of the Tunisian Jewish singer Habiba Messika by Faten Bouchrara. The establishment of the French protectorate in Tunisia and the settlement of a significant number of European residents from Italy, Malta, France, Spain, and Russia results in significant transformations in Tunisian society, where new customs and behaviors emerged that penetrated all social groups, ethnic and religious minorities that were living in that period in the country. The urban and architectural fabric has also witnessed important transformations which will help the emergence of a public sphere in the life of major cities where art and singing have become new spaces in which performances are organized, such as cafes, restaurants, and theaters, in addition to the continuation of holding festive processions in homes on the occasion of weddings, as well as private parties in the places of the base, which are furnished by artists, Muslims or Jewish, each according to the field in which they are specialized. Tunisia has a wealth of lyrical and musical heritage. Tunisian Jewish artists and creators contributed to the production of a part of it, especially in major cities, and this took place in a period not exceeding 50 years from the beginning of the 20th century to the middle of it. Among the Tunisian Jewish artists and creators, we mention Louisa التونسية and Ratiba الشامية and Habiba Messika 1903-1930. Who is Habiba Messika? Habiba Messika is the only Tunisian Jewish artist who, in addition to her local success, has achieved remarkable Arab success. Her talents varied between singing, dancing, and theater acting. Her real name is Marguerite Messika. She was born in the Jewish quarter of the Tunisian capital, from a humble Jewish family whose origins go back to the city of Testour, inhabited by the Moriscos who came from Andalusia after being expelled from it. There are different dates around the year of her birth: 1893, 1897, or 1903. She learned to read and write at the Jewish Alliance School in Tunis, which she left after 7 years to follow, with the help of her aunt Leila Sfez, famous Jewish singer at the time, lessons in singing and dancing. She learned Arabic classical music with the famous composer Khmais Tarnan and the Egyptian Hassan Bannan. Close to the two Bourguiba brothers, Mahmoud and Ahmed, elder brothers of the Tunisian President Habib Bourguiba, she shared their patriotic ideas and was known for her sympathy for nationalism. She had several theatrical experiences with the group The Future, which was supervised by Mahmoud Bourguiba, and with the Arab theater group of George Abiad. She played roles for the greatest authors: Shakespeare, Molière, Victor Hugo. President Habib Bourguiba liked to recount that in 1922, in Monastir, his hometown, he played the role of the son of Habiba Messika in Victor Hugo's play Lucrèce Borgia, where she played the main female role. Also found on singing, she collaborated with dozens of famous Arab musicians such as the Tunisian Khmais Tarnan and the Iraqi Mohammed Al-Qabanji. She gave concerts in Egypt and she sang in different Arabic dialects. She was doing charity work and pouring money on the poor. She used to buy a bride's device for Jewish girls from humble families and pay for theirs circumcision of poor Muslim children. She was an artist who preferred provocation as well as masculine roles. She dared to dress in tempting clothes that the She dared to dress in tempting clothes that the actresses did not dare to dress at the time and became a true symbol of excitement. She was first to start the phenomenon of Askar al-Lil, the soldiers of the night, which is a pseudonym for its fans. Most of them are young men from Tunisian bourgeois families. They played the role of protectors when she was threatened or attacked by the conservatives. In March 1925, during the play Romeo and Juliet, she played the role of Romeo, and the Libyan Jewish actress Rashida Lutfi played the role of Juliet. She exchanged a kiss with Rashida. That act caused a real riot, as shocked spectators lined the stage. It required the intervention of the soldiers of the night to control the situation. One evening in 1928, in the midst of participating in the play Martyrs of the Nation, Habiba Messika draped in the Tunisian flag came out chanting the slogans of independence. She was arrested by the French authorities on her way out of the theater, and she was released following the intervention of the soldiers of the night. She was given many nicknames, such as Habib al-Kul, the tiger with green eyes, the angelic voice, the princess of art, and the theater's star. Her death was as special as her life. On the morning of February 20, 1930, in the middle for the month of Ramadan, she was at the height of its glory. Habiba was converted in a deep sleep after a night of singing and art. Her former lover, Eliahu Mimouni, a wealthy Tunisian Jew from Testour, entered her apartment of Alfred Durand Clay Street in Tunis, doused her with petrol and set her on fire. Habiba Messika died later of her burns, and Eliahu Mimouni on March 18, 1930. Before her death, Habiba managed to make statements to the investigators confirming that her crazy ex-boyfriend had committed the heinous crime. A funeral procession and burial were held for Habiba Messika, in which nearly 15,000 people, Jewish and Muslim, women and men, participated. This procession is considered one of the largest gatherings of Muslim and Jewish in the history of Tunisia, knowing that it coincided with the month of Ramadan. Habiba Messika was buried in the Jewish cemetery in Bourges in Tunis. Shattered memory of Habiba Messika. Despite the succession of years, 92 years since her death since 1930, the name of Habiba Messika has never been forgotten. When talking about the role of Tunisian Jewish in music, the name Habiba Messika imposed itself. The memory of Habiba has survived from the year 1930 until today, but it is dispersed between the bearers of this cultural heritage and the places mentioned in it, and the types and methods of its reproduction. According to a research we conducted in the framework of a master's thesis in heritage that was discussed on September 29, 2022 at the Faculty of Letters, Arts and Humanity in Manouba, Tunisia, entitled The Living Memory of Habiba Messika 1930-2022. culminated in a very good observation. We concluded that there are three important historical areas that characterize Habiba Messika's memory about other Tunisian Jewish or Muslim artists who are contemporary to her or not. The first era from the impossible mourning to shattered memory, 1930-1973. The French-speaking daily newspapers such as the Petit Matin and La Dépêche Tunisienne and the Arabic language daily newspapers such as Al Nahda covered for several consecutive days the news of the heinous crime against the artist Habiba Messika. He also spoke about the statements of Habiba and Eliyahu before their deaths, as well as the transmission of the events of the great funeral that this Tunisian woman received, and the poems and sermons of lamentations that were delivered to her. Next days, Habiba passed away, and the artist chanted their songs. The artist dresses with the way of Habiba Messika. They used her particular way of show. She was advanced features of her time. Habiba Messika was inspired from her trips to Europe, France, and Germany. A few years later, Habiba Messika's memory was absent, but she was present through her songs, which were sung by other singers. Then Heidi Tamzali in 1952 and Habib Bourguiba in 1972 involved it in their memories. The second area, a strong return to the memory of Habiba Messika 1985-2020, 50 years after her death and the exodus of the majority of Jewish from Tunisia after the events of the 60s towards France and Israel. The memory of the Jewish artist Habiba Messika is still alive in the minds of the components of the Muslim majority Tunisian society. In this period mentioned, we noticed a shift in the ways and means of evoking the memory of the Tunisian artist. The character of Habiba Messika has become present in literary writings, magazines, newspapers, websites, and art installations of all categories. This evocation of the memory of the Tunisian artist is not only confined to her homeland, Tunisia, but also to other countries where the Tunisian Jewish diaspora exists in France and elsewhere. The third area, consecration of the myth, 2020-2022. Although it is a very short period, not exceeding 3 years, in addition to the fact that it was marked by the spread of the epidemic, the evoking of a beloved memory has doubled in intensity. These years witnessed many demonstrations and events related to the artist's memory, among them commemorating the 90th anniversary of the death of Habiba Messika in Testour in February 2020, an exhibition prepared by a team from the Heritage Laboratoire at the Faculty of Letters, Art and Humanities in Manouba, a contribution to the celebration of the 19th anniversary of the death of Habiba Messika. A photo exhibition entitled Khouda by the artist Mona Siela Jmal at Villa de la Volière in Carthage from November 10 to December 31, 2021. Publication of a book entitled Famous Tunisian Jewish Singers by Feher Rouissi and the latest composition My First Love by Aida Niati and Zied Zoué. The importance of preserving this cultural heritage memory of Habiba Messika. The process of safeguarding the components of the intangible cultural heritage is very important as it contributes to the preservation of the popular memory of a particular group in addition to its contribution in the sense of identity and its consolidation of that group and highlighting the areas of distinction between it and other groups due to the culture, civilization, and historical values contained in the intangible culture heritage. Preserving this heritage also represents an important incentive for the economic development of society on the one hand and its continuity on the other hand. Conservation measures. The preservation process can be carried out by taking a number of measures such as enumeration and compilation of the elements of the intangible culture heritage represented in the memory of the Tunisian artist Habiba Messika, recognizing the sources, identifying, compiling, monitoring and inventorying them, designing safeguarding measures through the establishment of a network of institutions with a legal background to protect this intangible heritage, planning conservation projects with the participation of the local community, involvement of the concerned groups, acknowledgement of the bearer, protector, custodian of this heritage to be among the elements of the inventory through awareness of the importance of this element, respect for it, and cooperation in order to document and sustain it. Promoting cooperation and exchange of skills and experiences at the regional level, taking measures to ensure the sustainability of the intangible culture heritage, recording its elements as a human public. Ways to sustain this intangible cultural heritage, enabling the professional in this heritage to pass on his knowledge to the next generation and work to pass it on later, taking into account the principle of development, creativity and addition. Establish advisory bodies comprising practitioners and other traditional bureaus, research, international NGOs, members of civil society, local representatives and other stakeholders, as well as local assistance groups comprising community representatives, culture practitioners and others with specific skills, training, knowledge and capacity building. An interactive top-down process involving groups, government and international NGOs. In conclusion, we can say that the motion of Habiba Messika by important figures such as Habib Bourguiba or famous writers such as Monsef Sharfuddin or Sophie Bessis is a pivotal contribution to the sustainability of this culture heritage in the collective memory. Despite all the effort made to protect, preserve this scattered memory of Habiba Messika, she is exposed to many threats that affect her existence and continuity. Keepers of certain information groups are elderly, many of them have passed away, not documenting the elements of the intangible culture heritage. The state slow in taking measures state doesn't activate some laws. It is an heritage that is constantly evolving and exposed to the dangers that may arise around it that threaten its continuity. The death of the bearers of heritage traditions and memorabilia. The huge diversity of heritage hard to enumerate. These are no legal provisions to protect the property rights of communities, groups of practitioners and traditional bearers over their culture and social practices and expressions, commercial use and exploitation of information, and finally, communities do not realize the value inherent in their culture heritage. Thank you for your attention.